yo, here we go. Time for some action. Can't get no satisfaction until my steel toe crashes. Head on collision, what's happening? This swinging, face smashing, no need for the caption. And you bet not interrupt when the titans are clashing. DJ, bring that beat so I can bust, slang the street, bang with the heat, semi-auto. Like to see you dodge these hollows. I throw too much beat to swallow. Can't keep up with me to follow. Sound check is over, show's just begun. Try to escape, make sure words don't run. Beats in the show, watch your tempo. Starting out of control, there is nowhere to go. You're moving too slow, and this is about to explode. Ready to roll, and baby, here we go. I got you right where I want you. There is nowhere to run to. This ain't nothing like kung fu. More like watch what you can do. Let the poppers pop shots and the breakers break jaws. They don't box, they brawl. They don't make beats, they make war. Got kicks and stairs for ya. We take it there for ya. Heard what I said, snatch some dreads out your heads. Oh yeah, so you can dance around. You won't last around. I'm finna act the clown. You don't know, you better ask around. Beat to the show and watch your tempo. Starting out of control, there is nowhere to go. You're moving too slow and this is about to explode. Ready to roll and baby, here we go. I got the mic in my hand, I'm ready to go. Said the mic's in hand, I'm ready to go. Let's go, go, now start the show. What you waiting for to start the show? I got the mic in hand, I'm ready to go. Said the mic's in hand and that's the show. Let's go, go, now start the show. What you waiting for to start the show? Yo, yo, this ain't no damn.
Hello. Welcome back. Welcome. I do not have music playing. What is the audacity of me for not having music playing? Ow! Hip. Okay. I say help like you guys can help me, and it's all I have to do is lower the lever on my headset. Googly boogly. Hello, small child. How are you? Oh, that's too big. How is the small child? How is the music sounding? Is it too loud, too quiet? Just right? Great googly moogly. Are we sounding Gucci? I have Spyro music playing. I know Spyro is fairly quiet though. Let's see. Ta-da! And then create, insert. Mostly good, crazy burritos. Also, the Jimmy James be good. Awesome. I didn't realize that for the Def Jam stream that we did, that you guys could not hear any of the music, and I felt so bad because I was editing the clips. I'm like, you guys couldn't hear any of the music. What the heck? Why nobody say nothing? And also draw the arms as sticks. I will be drawing the arms soon. I got I have the expressions done. Like, I have a neutral. She's very glammed up neutral. I have scared. And then I have that ooh type of thing. Being up Ice-T some more. I love Ice-T. I love him. I still can't get over, like, we met him ages ago. And it's like, I think about that sometimes. And sometimes I don't. Let's do a blue. Okay. Let me go through the arm poses that we have too, because I think I showed you all of them, maybe. Okay, let's get the scared hands going. Because, are these hands going? Oh, excuse me, pardon. Let me do this real quick. Can I do... No, that's not gonna make it screen. Maybe. Okay, I can see him. Kind of. Color dodge. Oh. That's not helping too much. Hold on. Wait, let me get rid of the hair. Let me get rid of... No. Good. Going through this, it looks so cursed. I feel bad for, like, people who don't do, like... Not feel bad, But like for the people who don't do like stuff like this, like, and they're just seeing like everything segmented, bound, bound. I feel so bad. Let's see, cause I want. What music is this? What song is this? Hold up. Oh, it's Doki Doki. Okay. I was like, what song is this? I want to make sure the mouth. Yeah, it should work. Oh, let me get this mouth good here too. Because if I can just have it overlap enough, it'll be good. Because I want to have some variations for Ace's sprites for when I go and edit. Because Ace was like, hey, would you like to stream one day together? Like, and go through Resident Evil? I was like, heck yeah, like, that sounds amazing. That sounds super fun. Because they're like, they have OG 2 and 3 up on PlayStation right now. And she was like, since you played them and I'm still fairly new to them, I'd love to go through them with you. I was like, heck yeah. So, I don't know if we're doing it this weekend, but someday soon we'll be doing it on Ace's channel. And Ace is streaming primarily through their PlayStation 5, I believe. So there won't be any overlays or anything, but I get the privilege to edit the stream afterwards and cut down segments and parts and montage, stuff like that from like when Ace and I, when we used to stream or go through games together. We primarily did Resident Evil 5, and I think we did 6 once or twice. And so I'm very, very excited to be able to revisit those games with her, because it's been so long. And I was actually very, very pleasantly surprised when they reached out to me. They were like, hey, let's do stuff. And I'm like, okay. Thank you for reaching out. Because that's my thing too, is like, if you reach out to me, I am more than happy and excited to boogie woogie. Oh, my back. I'm sorry. I'm getting old. Don't get old. Getting old is not fun. Okay, so I'm gonna have to have this over the hair. Welcome back from the ads. I just realized Twitch don't give me random ad of a man chomping on a pineapple pop. Hey! He earned that pineapple popsicle. He earned that popsicle. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't want a pineapple popsicle. I do apologize in advance too. I do have groceries along the way. So I may have to take a BRB to go grab my groceries. But we should be good for the moment. Let me just... Let me give Ace nails, because she is very, very glamorous in her appearance. She is always slaying, and I want to make sure I capture her slay, or the way that she slays. You got burritos in your groceries? No, sadly. I wish. I thought about it. I was just getting essentials basically.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high
because my
quality
boyfriend
at
and I,
low prices. Like you
we're
never
going
compromise your
to
meal
have
with our
a
spring
long
salad
weekend
mix
together,
that's
which I'm very,
guaranteed
very
fresh,
excited
and you
for.
never compromise your budget with lower prices
Soon.
on over 1,000 items.
And we were like,
And
hey,
for
why
Kroger
don't
shoppers,
we
you never
get
compromise.
groceries
Kroger.
together? What happened?
Fresh
What did I
for
do?
everyone.
Get groceries together. That way, we can like kind of meal prep for the week of sorts, and like see what it'd be like grocery shopping together, and I'm super excited. I want burrito and refried beans and rice and chippies. Oh my gosh, I'm hungry. I'm hungry. There we go. The hair. I feel that though. I'm so salty that I know, right? That's why when I was texting you the other day, I was like, how is
What will you build next? Discover
shampoo,
more at
conditioner, and whatchamacallit, shampoo, conditioner, body wash, and razors $50. And it wasn't even bougie brands. Like, I don't buy bougie brands.
6,000 miles to Nepal.
No, the mall.
The mall.
First is smart.
Calculating.
So check All Stay First for a quote
It was
that
like,
can save you
I was so
hundreds. You're in
like
good hands
salty
with
about
Allstate.
it. Dun, dun,
State
dun.
vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hopefully you can hear BB nose. I should have spent like literally. That should legit have been 20 at max. I know people aren't gonna see that, but I can see it. But what's nice is now it's like, oh, the mouse will. See, like it all fits together and it makes me happy. I'll probably like add like another expression for her too, where like I mix like the eyes and the mouths or something like that. I'll probably like play around, because I told her I'm like, while I'm not going super ham on the details, I am making sure these are cute and fun. And I already sent her like the works in progress and stuff, and already Ace is like, oh my gosh, I love these already. And I'm like, I am so glad, because I want you to like these. Is it because I grabbed Halloween Reese's for me? Your kind deed made the price go up. See, hands one. Let's see. There we go. Let's do this one. I'm too polite for this household. I'm a good noodle. You are a good noodle. They don't deserve your kindness, I swear. I'm looking at this like, why is there 4 arms? I understand why. That was why. More arms make her a buggy. I hate hands. It's Voltaire. Like I said, I'm being very, very basic with the shading and the coloring.
I was just a tourist the first time I went to Mexico. I was a stranger in danger in a world unknown. A clap of thunder and the ground around me did explode. And the skeletons in dozens came out from that hole. Why, no lie, was the day of the dead. Did you hear what I just said? Oh, 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 I didn't even know it was the day of the dead. I tried not to lose my head. Oh, 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 way down in Mexico.
Does this look right? Do these hands look right? They're gonna look as right as I can make them. Oh, hello. Sorry. I just snap crackled my back so hard. Genuinely, it low-key kind of hurt. My back. I asked my coworkers, hey, I'm at Amazon. Is it normal to get very sidetracked? Yes. Very much so. I am not kidding when I tell you I have done too much scrolling on Amazon, because Amazon also does the thing of, hey, we think you'd like this. It's like, you would be right, I would like that. But thankfully, like, it has the option of, hey, make a list. It's like, I love making lists. I also sometimes will, I guess, doom scroll Amazon just to see what I can find, or I will sit and just constantly refresh the page to see what it will recommend me. And sometimes it's like, wow, that is kind of cool, and the other times it's like, what is this? What am I looking at? I'm so glad, like, art streams are a thing, because it can just allow us to just vibe and chill. Because I like vibing and chilling. And hopefully they're calming and relaxing enough where, like, people are like, yeah. Did he say it's the Day of the Dead? I need to learn more Spanish. I feel bad. Sometimes my boyfriend will talk in Spanish to me, and I get really quiet. I'm like, I need you to translate, please. Please translate. I want to learn. It's just so salty. A lot of bootlegs used to be on it. Honestly, I think they're still there. I think they're just more smart with their listings. Because, like, those amazing digital circus plushes you see on Amazon, those are bootlegs. They're just using the official plushes. And be careful too, like, that's why I say to you all the time, check the reviews. Because even if the review is positive, it can still, like, they could be fake reviews too. Okay, let's see. Hopefully this looks okay. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. There we go.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get
Ignore
high
that
quality
I
and
don't
low
pay
prices.
for
You never
Amazon,
compromise your
or not
meal with our
Amazon,
spring salad mix.
Spotify
Guaranteed
Premium.
fresh, and you never compromise your budget with lower prices on
You know,
more
maybe you
frozen
want
items.
to save.
Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never
I know you don't
compromise.
have Kroger, but
Fresh for everyone.
Kroger is
Save
Acme.
big on your favorites with the buy
I
five
have a
or more,
sneeze
save
coming.
$1
I
each sale.
apologize
Simply buy
in
5 or more
advance.
participating items and save $1 each with your card. Kroger.
I gotta
fresh
sneeze.
for everyone.
I gotta sneeze.
At Domino's,
Excuse me.
2 medium, 2
Pardon.
topping pizzas for only $6.99 each. So
Pardon
while your
moi.
family may not always agree on which music to play at home, at least if you're
Pizza.
craving ham and tangy pineapple
Oh, I
and
should have
tossed,
grabbed a
dad wants
pizza.
onions and pepperoni on crunchy thin
Yeah,
crust,
it's okay.
you can get both. Order 2 medium, 2 topping pizzas for only $6.99 each from Domino's. Prices higher for some locations. Ask for this offer. 2-item minimum. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary. Parmesan, stuffed crust, and pan pizza will cost extra. Local stores set delivery fees and may charge extra for some menu items, crust types, toppings, and
Why
sauces.
did I? Hold on.
Some people
Because I
just know
missed
they
it.
could save
Bloop.
hundreds on car
There we go.
insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the GPS
The one
directions
figure I sent
first
you had
before
big-
driving to the mall.
Turn right.
Here,
at
if
the
you
light.
this is
1,000
it's
miles to
broke.
reach Montreal.
Not Montreal, the mall.
Recalculating. 6,000 miles to Nepal.
No,
the
that mom.
Checking first is smart.
Recalculating.
So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
State Missouri. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and
I
affiliates.
don't
Northbrook, Illinois.
care about state insurance. I do care about this. I love Silent Hill 3. I say as I get severely depressed after each time I play it. I love Silent Hill 3. Came along, so now what should I do? How strung out, addicted to you. My body aches, and now that you know. If you give me everything, you would have more. And crave my happiness. Feel this good. To be such a crazy affair. No, who has time for tears? Sit around and go love who you love. Who has time for tears? I will tweak the liner a little bit on these arms too. Don't you worry. Yes, Amazon, I want the Berserk socks in my list. How will the socks make you go berserk? Normally I don't use just like straight black line art, but it doesn't look bad, methinks, for this. Let's Parasite Eve. Maybe. Okay, I do need to add a little bit here. There we go. I don't look bad. Okay, let me just see what it looks like with the... Yeah, that don't look bad. Yeah, it don't look bad at all. What I'm going to do is duplicate. Maybe not. Okay, let's see. Let's do... Dun, dun, dun. Okay, I'm gonna leave this how it is. Yeah. Yeah, she looks pretty good so far. I hate how washed out it looks on your guys' screen, because on mine it's not that washed out. But I think she's looking good for now. And then I'll come back to her in a minute. We're just gonna put Ace model. I guess it's not necessarily a model, it's a sprite. There we go. And then we shall So I got mine right here too. Still working on mine, but like I got like another face, another. I got like the scared hands, hands on the hips, and like a what? I might not do the hands on the hips. I don't like that one as much. I do like that. So let us line my shelf. And we'll do it the same way as we did Ace. Where we're gonna do the head first. At least one of the heads. There we go. Sorry, I was resting my hand wrong. Amazon, you can't offer me Kirby boxers and tell me they're only for kids. Do you know who I am? My brand! I have to add, I need to go back to and make sure let me put a note. Let's see. Nope. Hold up. There we go. Add glasses plus Bean Wesker. There we go. Okay, there we go. Let's see. So we got that. Yep, that's my head. Never mind, everything better got talking. I don't know what song this is. Wait, let me check. I don't know what this song is. Oh, I do know what this is. It's like very funky. Alright, we got head. Get it in the center. 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 That works. Okay. There we go. Let's see. And the shirt I'm drawing myself in, it's based on a shirt I have. Honestly, it's become one of my favorite shirts as of recent. Because while it's super nice looking, it's very soft and comfy. That I actually really like whenever I get to wear it. And it's very nice. I like how flowy it is. Because it's so comfy. I remember this audio was like super popular
Kroger, you never
when I had
compromise.
TikTok,
You get high quality
and the
at
amount
low
of
prices. Like you
PlayStation
never
edits
compromise
I
your
would see
meal
with
our
that
spring
song, I was
salad
like,
mix
that's
guaranteed
cool.
fresh, and you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000
Are you
items.
sure?
Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You
Are you
never
sure?
compromise. Kroger.
I always hate where
For
it's like, get
everyone.
30
Save
minutes
big
of
on your favorites with the buy five or
ad-free.
more, save a dollar each sale.
Oh,
Simply buy
it
5 or
has
more
been 30
participating
minutes,
items
never
and save
mind.
$1 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
It has indeed been 30 minutes. Pardon me. I was gonna.
journals, screen detoxes. How do you know what
I was
actually
gonna
works?
roast the ad.
With a 4.9 rating from 1.7 million client reviews, you're in good hands with BetterHelp, where you can
Are
talk
you?
with real licensed
Are you
therapists,
really?
not AI. Wellness shouldn't be overwhelming.
For
and
anybody
therapists can
who
help
is
figure out
considered
what's best
looking
for
into
you.
therapy,
And
do
yeah, it
not
might
use
involve a screen
BetterHelp.
detox.
Do
Visit
not,
BetterHelp.com/Spotify
because
Music
it's
for 10% off your
it's
first month.
basically a
That's
scam.
better,
Do not use BetterHelp.
HELP.com/Spotify Music.
I don't care what
Some
YouTuber
people just know to
suggests
save
it to you
hundreds
or
on car insurance by checking
whenever you
Allstate
hear that
first.
ad.
Like you know to check the GPS
If you are
directions
looking into
first before
therapy,
driving to the mall.
do
Turn
not
right at the
use
light. In
BetterHelp.
1,000 miles, you will reach Montreal.
Not Montreal, the mall.
Recalculating. 6,000 miles to Nepal.
No,
The mall.
Checking first is smart.
Recalculating.
So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Am I feeling Metal Gear Rising? Am I feeling? I am not, if I'm being honest. Let's skip it. No. Yeah. Well, if I stop being poor qualities, please and thanks. I'm sorry. Let me just do a quick little check on something real quick. Okay, cool. My groceries are on the way. Body. Let me make sure I get the accessories for the body. Here's a good middle point. Right. Yeah. And no, my belt does not have a heart. However, a heart is always cute. It's my favorite thing to add as an accent is a heart. I'm actually going to add my necklace. I have this one necklace and it's really nice. I like it. It's a clover and it reminds me of Clock Tower. Clock Tower 3. I think that was why I got the necklace, was because it reminded me of Clock Tower 3. Yeah. It's Alice. There we go. Boom, 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 boom. My brain is not working. I apologize. Become a rooter. I apologize in advance. On Fridays, my brain goes dead. So I apologize if I'm like, huh? I was mentally checked out at like 10 this morning. I mean, I texted you about it, Human. I was like, yeah. And you're like, does Gundam Bears help you? It's like, actually, yeah, it does a little bit. The Gundam Bears did help a bit. It's like that green. I feel so bad. The skin looks so washed out. I'm pasty, but I am not that pasty. Maybe. And because this is all just a clipping mask, I don't care about being super neat. They're beginner kits and super fun, easy model kit. Now, did it come already painted, or do you have to paint them yourselves? They come like pre-done, right? All you have to do is put it together. Because they're made for kids. Denny Crane. Tricks are for kids. Oh, you're like a darker green, this one. Okay, the center is like gold, so I'll use this color. And just to give a heads up, we have an ad in about 3 minutes. I wonder what would happen if I used this one and then use this color. Well, that kind of looks cool. I dig it. That's kind of cool. I like it. I know you can't see it from far away, but up close it kind of looks cool. La la la. Let's see. And then my pants, I have like this. Hey! More Spyro! I was looking at my YouTube channel yesterday and I realized I never finished playing Spyro 2 on there, and I really should because I love Spyro. I want to get one of the Dragon Ball ones so bad. Build a Goku. Build Goku when Vegeta is right there. Hey Vegeta. Do they have a Zarbon model kit? Could they have a Zarbon model kit? I'm just gonna fill that in. Funny enough, I think Vegeta was cheaper. That makes sense, in my opinion. No Zarbon, but I'm hoping we get the Ginyu Force. Oh, yes. I love the Ginyu Force. kind of want to go back and rewatch Dragon Ball. Will I? The world may never know. My brain fart. It was like, what color am I doing? Why am I coloring? What do you mean, why am I coloring, brain? Let's do, because there's of them. Yeah, I remember seeing them when we would go to Barnes and Nobles of the Ginyu Force. Those figures, and they were super cool. Like, I remember seeing the Captain Ginyu and Jace. I was like, dude, Ginyu and Jace. What? Oh, and Berter. Man, Ginyu Force were cool. I keep forgetting how like they were so cool. I keep forgetting how like actually menacing they are, though, if we think about it. Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that. Okay. Okay. There's a Cell and Frieza model kit and 2 Broly's. Broly makes sense. That makes sense. I could see that. There we go.
You love listening to your favorite artists, and we
Okay,
love
no.
listening
Does
to
that
you.
make sense? I was like, what happened to this? And then I was like, oh, it's
Click
on
now to take part
a
in
different
our
day.
short survey, and you could win a month of gloriously uninterrupted music with Spotify Premium.
Ads are rude. I told you they were coming.
Your favorite artists, ad free.
I told
All
you.
you need to do is hit the banner now for your
Nobody
chance to win.
listens to me.
Some people just know they can save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the GPS directions first, before driving to the mall.
Turn right at the light. In 1,000 miles, you will reach Montreal.
Not
No.
Montreal.
The
The
mall.
mall.
Recalculating. 6,000 miles to Nepal.
No,
The
the
mall.
Checking first is smart.
Let me
So
just
check
check
Allstate
again
first for a quote that could save you
I'm the
hundreds.
next
Stay in
stop.
good hands with
Cool.
Allstate.
Oh. Dun, dun,
State
dun.
necessary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
At Domino's, you can get 2 medium, 2 topping pizzas for only
At
$6.99 each.
Domino's.
So while your family may not always agree on which music to play at home, at least if you're craving ham and tangy pineapple on hand tossed, and Dad wants onions and pepperoni
Oh,
on
excuse me.
crunchy thin crust,
Freedom!
you can get both. Order 2 medium, 2 topping pizzas for only
I should make that a
$6.99 each
button.
from Domino's.
Or
Prices higher for some
redeem
locations. This offer to
the
minimum
freedom.
delivery area and charges may vary. Parmesan stuffed crust and pan pizza will cost extra. Local stores set delivery fees and may charge extra for
Anyway,
some items,
model
crust
kits are
types,
fun.
and
I'm gonna
sauces.
rob somebody. Oopsie. Is this Hatsune Miku? I don't think this is Hatsune Miku, but somebody. If you have questions about model kits, I can very much answer you. You just want me to spend money on model kits. I believe you. I'm sure they're very fun. I just need space for them, that's the thing. I'd be happy if they didn't. Be happy I don't have any contact. He wants them though. He wants to get some. He recently did get himself a Gundam, and I was really happy for him, cause he showed me. He's like, look what I got, and he got himself the Gundam. I guess the main one. I forget the main mobile suit. I'm still learning the Gundams, but he's so cute. He's so happy about it. He was like, look at my Gundam. I love him. He's such a goober. Mobile Suit Gundam. We went through all of the Origin, Gundam the Origin, and it was actually really, really cool. I had a lot of fun watching it with him. Like, I want to see more of the Gundam series now. I love, him, and you'll know the meme because I send it to you all the time. The bee cookie from Starbucks. That meme reminds me of Char and Garma, because Garma eyes him up like that bee, and it's so funny to me. Karma wanted Char so bad. They had something. Oh, it's mindless self-indulgence. I forgot I had them on this playlist. Whoopsie. I do like the song though. Gundam has been very fruity. I think I have a wrong green on. That's better. I was like, it was too vibrant and looking like Shaggy. Oh! Will be delivered soon. Okay. You're not centered. You're not centered. That works. Lovely ladies. I apologize. I completely forgot I had mindless self-indulgence on this playlist. I do remember adding this song. I do remember adding this song. This is a song my boyfriend showed me with the JoJo video, and it's so catchy. I think that's my groceries right there. So I'll have to take a BRB in a hot minute. I think that is my groceries. Alright, I'm gonna do a quick BRB. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna do a quick BRB and grab my groceries, and I will be back in like 5 minutes. Oh my god, why are you coming at me? Come back here! Why did you run at me like that? Do it again.
Here I come!
You missed. Yeah, you missed too. Don't do that. I might be trespassing, but you don't need to be rude about it.
Broken alone, I was dumped at the town orphanage. There I met 2 guys who became my lifelong buddies and trusted crew. Family, techno genius and strategist.
I love that he doesn't even grow from a child.
Part-time driver and full-time burden.
Full-time
Together we pledged
burden?
to track down the fiendish 5,
You'd
avenge
be
my
nice.
father, steal back the thievius raccoons.
Hold on, I need to see.
One.
Back up. Back up. You will be crab ragoons. You no. Yeah, honk, 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 honk. My goodness, Bentley.
Yeah, I read you. Loud and
So loud. So very loud. Now, how am I supposed to get all these bottles? Whoa! Hey! 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 Don't do that. Okay. Please tell me I can get those from all the way down there. You let me on this, and you let.
Oh, brother!
Ah! 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 Get out of here. Don't make me look like I don't know how to platform. I know how to platform. I play platformers. So why you do this to me? Why you do this to me? I platform. I platform decent. I don't platform great. I platform decent. Break that. Gonna break myself tonight. Give me something to break. Give me something to break. Turn around. I need a path. Hey, oh my god, why are you coming at me?
Come back here!
Why did you run at me like that? Do it again.
Here I come!
You missed. Yeah, you missed too. Don't do that. I might be trespassing, but you don't need to be rude about it.
Broken alone, I was dumped at the town orphanage. There I met two guys who became my lifelong buddies and trusted crew. Family, techno genius and
I
strategist.
love that he doesn't even grow from a child.
Part-time driver and full-time burden.
Full-time
Together we pledged
burden?
to track down the fiendish five,
You'd
avenge
be
my father,
nice.
steal back the thievius raccoons.
Hold on, I need to see.
One.
Back up. Back up. You will be. Hello, hello, I am back. Let me get the music back. There we go. That did not take as long as I thought it was going to take for me putting my groceries up. I thought it was going to be much longer. Anybody doing anything fun this weekend? I'm hoping to stream this weekend too. Maybe like more art streams. I'm gonna try to. No promises, but I'm gonna try to. Eepin, yeah. Definitely going to catch up on some Eepin. Is that Silent Hill? Sounds like Silent Hill. Let me see. It is Silent Hill 4. Ah! Let's get it. Ah! I don't care. I don't care about Disney World. Shut your mouth.
I was your favorite.
Shut up.
Well, after the fireworks,
Shut up.
You don't want to go to our yacht club resort home?
Oh, that home.
Yacht Club Resort. Oh, must be nice.
Ready to play? Visit DisneyWorld.com/came to play.
Oh, you ready for this?
Eeny Meeny, a Hulu original, now streaming.
Eeny meeny.
His casino job in just a few days. $3 million.
You get right to it.
From the guys who wrote Deadpool. Your boy's a liability.
I love Deadpool.
Let's get this money.
Eeny meeny miny mo. Catch a tiger by the toe. If he hollers, let him go.
Now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus.
Hulu and Hulu and Hulu and Hulu. Hey! I'm hoping to get at least the models done. Because I was thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, I gotta make an overlay too. I might not do an overlay. I might get creative and not do an overlay. I want to cook, but we have so much left over. Yeah. Robin, Robin, yeah, with my baby. Oh, hallelujah. Robin, Robin, yeah, I'm off and running. Let's start picking up extras of my, oh hallelujah. I can't hit high notes. I can't hit high notes. This looks like Link. Am I just Link? Is that who I am? I stumble many times, I might get hurt, but I am running. Lincoln Rogue. Rubbing, yeah, with my baby. Oh, hallelujah. Rubbing, yeah, I'm off and running. Let's start picking up the little extras. Oh, my. Oh, it's okay, but so it's legit. Tell me. I'm gonna take like the top part. There we go. There we go. Because it was too heavy up top. What did they? I fell down a lot. I have a lot. Then I realize means you leave it all. Rubbing, yeah, to let my baby. Oh, hallelujah. I'm over running. Alright, I'm actually gonna give the gray hairs that I have. Because I do have some grays. And you know what? I don't mind. Picking up the little extras of mine. I saw like somebody do this like cool technique with shading, where it was like here, and then it was like blah 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 blah. Like it was like very sketchy, and then it was like hatch lighting. I was like, dude, I need to do that, and I did. Oh, jeez. I'm excited. I have chocolate milk in my fridge right now. What is this? What is this? Oh, it's Castlevania. Can I castle your Vanias? Okay, let's get this dopey face in. There we go. At least one of the faces. Bam bam. Let's see. Okay, we're still doing good on time. In his world. Yo. Oh, yeah, that's not bad. I want to add like top lashes, but it's always so hard. In this world, this world, this world, this world, this world, this world. You know, they did not need to go as hard as they did for like the old Sonic games, but I am so glad that they did. They went so hard for these games, and I have nothing but appreciation for them. You know what I didn't realize too about myself that I have, and it wasn't until like one day I was like really looking at myself in the mirror. I have freckles. Not like super noticeable, but enough where like I was looking at myself in the mirror. I was like, huh. Obviously not like that. Let's go like this. Nope. Listen. So it could make it look good. Not gonna do it. I never realized that. Like one day I was like really looking at myself in the mirror. I was like, you know, that's kind of cool. I don't know if you guys like ever just like stare at yourself in the mirror sometimes. May I ask something? May I answer something? I may have the answer. No guarantees. What is your question, child? Is it a song request? Like, listen! I changed the color of the top slightly. I have this top. I really like it. And to me, it looks really nice with these purplish brown pants I have. And you know what? That clip of Shaggy where he's like, I got a chick's body. I feel that. I have a chick's body. You got Shaggy clip. I'll have to show you the top because it's not a t-shirt or anything. It almost looks like Fiona's, but green. And I think that's why I like it so much, is that it reminds me a lot of Fiona's. Yeah, not bad. Let me add a little bit more red.
Life's too short for compromises, especially when it comes to snack time. Kroger shoppers don't have to choose between a great find and peace of mind. With our potato chips and pretzels, you never compromise on satisfying treats.
Yeah, that looks
And you
good.
never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Find a Kroger near you and start shopping and
is
saving today.
neutral.
Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Oh, jeez, my back.
There are quesadillas.
My
and
whole
then
back
there
just
are
went pop, pop, pop,
Zaxby's
pop, pop.
giant chicken finger quesadillas. Packed with those famous Zaxby's hand-breaded chicken fingers, melty cheese, and a whole lot of sauce. Get them in one of 2 delicious flavors, chicken fajita or chicken bacon ranch. This is huge
I want
news
this up here,
for folks
actually.
who love huge quesadillas.
Okay,
Zaxby's
that's
giant chicken finger
next.
quesadillas. Get them while you can. Who's got the sauce?
Zaxby's.
Oh, you ready for this?
No. Bam, 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 bam.
His casino job in just a few days. $3 million.
You get right to it.
From the guys who wrote Deadpool.
Did we not just hear this ad?
Let's get this money.
Can we think this through for a second?
Yeah, because that's her strong suit, thinking things through.
Heck yeah. Let the man think. Oh, is this Bayonetta? I think it is. No? Is this Bayonetta? It is Bayonetta. I'm not the Bayonetta expert, but I know Bayonetta when I'm hearing it. Maybe. It kind of sounds like Castlevania too, that's why I was like, is it? It's actually easier if I do that, that way it's even. Do this. Ba, 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 ba. Hey! Hillman, do you remember this anime? Please tell me you do. Or I will suplex you. Better remember it, boy. Sounds familiar. School Rumble. It was on, remember when like Funimation used to be a TV channel and not a streaming service? That's it. Yep, that is it. I feel like Funimation was my introduction to more mature animes. Like, yes, Toonami had some quote-unquote mature ones. I feel like the most mature ones on Toonami was Big O, maybe. I know Inuyasha was kind of dark at times. Funimation was fun. Not give us your more money to watch Oran. Literally. I think it's just also too, I'm just so done of streaming services. It makes me so sad and mad. Because like Funimation had Blue Gender and so many other like freaky and dark animes. And it was my introduction to like, oh my gosh, anime can be scary? What? I can still visualize this whole anime opening. What was his name? Harima? I think he was my favorite character in the anime. Because he was the character, he's like, yeah, I'm a thug. And he was like the biggest softie. And I feel like that was the reason why I really, really liked him. Become a pirate. Yo ho, fiddly. Being a pirate is already free. Do what you want, cause a pirate is free. You are a pirate. I feel so bad. Every time I'm stretching, my whole back is like, ugh! I'm so glad my boyfriend showed me Overkill or Ultra Kill so that I can experience this beautiful soundtrack because oh my goodness, it's so good. Shush about the memory. Thanks for the memories, even if they weren't so great. Tastes like you, sweeter. Bum 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 bum. Okay, can people come back inside? Y'all flatfoots don't get inside this house, I'm just gonna eat things. Hey, 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 what's for din? Please tell me you remember Pony MOVs. Shed MOV. MOVs. Please. Also, add in about 2 minutes. Yeah, people back inside. Go back outside. You suck. No, I'm joking. That's rude. That's very rude. They probably can hear me. Bum 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 ba dun dun. Da dun dun da dun dun. Da dun dun da dun dun. Ba dun dun ba dun dun. Da dun dun da dun dun. Da dun dun da dun dun. Bum 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 bum. Do 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 do. Da dun dun da dun dun. Da dun dun da dun dun. Da dun dun da dun dun. Ba dun dun. Up, I forgot the symmetry tool. Do 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 do. Da dun dun da dun dun. Dun 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 dun. Bum 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 dun 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 dun. Also Pony MOV, yay. Yay! Part of me wants to show my boyfriend those, just to see what his reactions are, but I also don't want to scare him. I'm sure he's probably seen them though, because they were a pretty, like, culturally significant thing on the internet. Like, if you had internet access, chances are you have seen Pony MOV. Ah, taglines. We don't want that. Nope. It was so fun too. I was talking about artsy things with my boyfriend too. I forget. I think I was actually. No, I wasn't. We were spending time together, and an art video came on his feed because we were looking at memes, and the artist was like, "Oh, with the taglines hit," and he's like, "What do you mean by the taglines?" I was like, "Oh, a tagline is when like you're doing something, and a tagline is like, say, like when, you know, when you make up like a body type of thing, and it's like, oh, here's your hand, but then like you have the hair overlapping, like here's your head, here's the shoulders, and then like you're trying to make a cool silhouette, but then you have like your hair like boom, and then like straight down like that. That's a tagline. Like it's not. It ain't gonna look good, Jack. And he was like, ah, I see. It's fun explaining artsy things. It's always so fun too, because like if we're watching an animated movie or something animated together, I just start nerding out. I'm like, oh my gosh, the composition, the shading, the colors, the masking, all of it's so pretty. Or like when he was showing me Sly Cooper, I was just going crazy. I was going nuts. Because I was like, the cell shading, the line work, the gradients, the silhouettes, the lighting. And he was just having so much fun. Genuinely, I think Sly Cooper might become one of my favorite games. And I'm so thankful he showed me them because they are so great. We just started 3 recently. And the whole time, I'm like, this is the one with Bentley is in the opera, right? And he's like, correct. And I'm like, yes. Bum, 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 bum. Da, dun, dun, da, dun, dun. Da, dun, da, dun, da, dun, da, dun, dun, da, dun, dun. Ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, da-da-dum, 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 da-dun, dun, 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 dun. Boop, boop.
Hey everybody, this is Gibeon.
Hi.
Girl, Gibeon's mom.
What's my most random guilty pleasure?
Hi, Gibeon's
I might get in
mom.
trouble for this.
What do I still call you for help with to this day?
Women.
Well, it ain't working. Was there a moment to you personally that you felt like I made it?
My face was hurting. I smiled so much. This is Mama I Made It with Shine.
Watch it now on YouTube.
Life's too short for compromises, especially when it comes to your favorite baking recipes.
I am back and about to nuke spaghetti.
Choose between a great
Heck
find
yeah.
and peace of mind. With our flour and sugar, you never compromise on homemade
Sorry, my brain is like, how do I
and you never
fish?
compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Find a Kroger near you and start shopping and saving today. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first.
Am I gonna have to do the
GPS
mouth
first before driving
on
to
a
the
whole
mall.
separate layer?
At the light. In 1,000 miles, you will reach Montreal.
Not Montreal.
The mall.
Recalculating. 6,000 miles.
Or the
to
chin on a
Nevada.
whole separate layer? What did I do to myself?
First is smart.
I think it's just because
So
the
check
hair
Allstate first for a quote
is
and
more
save you
intricate
hundreds.
this one
You're in
than
good
on
hands with
Aces.
Allstate.
Dun dun dun
Safe is here,
dun.
subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Another water in the night.
Oh, this is a good song.
Let me paint the view.
Ah, it's a good song.
Live my life. For every moment shared with you, night and in the day. You're never fully gone. Going to be back again. Until the coming of the dawn.
I have to let this one play. Makes me so happy.
Two hands meet at zenith. Nothing comes between us. Dancing like ballerinas. get painted so vividly by you. I just wanna stay with you around the water, we slowly dance. Whenever our eyes meet, you know you leave me in a trance. It means everything to me. Looking down below, I'll always seem to find, no matter where you might go. Remember,
Honestly, that doesn't look bad with that chin.
Within the inner heart I plead for you to talk to me. I wanna hear all the good and bad, the new stories you had. As I drift across the sky, the hour hand turns high. So good night, let me sing.
Oh gee, my bag.
I'll be singing, baby.
Dun, 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 dun. It's Alice. Hello, Alice. I'm gonna skip it. Goodbye, Alice. Hey, Lulu. Bum, bum, ba-dum. Dun, 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 dun. I just realized I have to draw my tattoo. God, why do I do this to myself? To be everything, 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 everything. Oh my god. Don't crack through my facade. Just slap a PNG. Tempting. I want to Oh, why do I do it to myself? Gotta draw this whole tattoo, man. Legs like Scoob. Why do I do this? God! Dun, 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 dun. I gotta draw my tattoo. Okay, let me see. Okay, this is the one that has the tattoo. Oh, and my bracelet. Okay. The bracelet is the easy part. See what I did? I had to draw my squiggles in a Nah, if I'm gonna do my tattoo, I'm gonna do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Sound familiar?
That scared me. The snore. I thought there was somebody snarling in my ear.
An old saggy mattress that can keep you up at night. And our sleep
Do not
experts have
want
been rival know-how to
that in
match
my
you with a
ear.
mattress that can help.
Good
Now get a
golly.
queen bed for a queen price,
Great
plus a free
googly
adjustable base with
moogly.
select mattresses. For the great sleep you deserve, visit Mattress Firm. We make sleep easy.
Do you? Do you
Restrictions
make
apply.
sleep
See store
easy?
or website
How
for
easy
details.
do you make that sleep mattress firm? Huh? Huh?
Life's
Huh?
too short
Prove
for
it to me.
compromises,
Prove it.
especially when it comes to snack time.
Snack
Kroger
time?
shoppers
You had
don't
me.
have to choose between a great find
You have
and
me
peace of mind.
intrigued.
With our popcorn and candy,
Bum,
you never
ba-bum,
compromise on movie
ba-bum,
night
ba-da,
favorites.
ba-da, ba-da,
And you never
ba-ba,
compromise your
ba-ba,
budget with
ba-ba,
lower prices
ba-ba,
on over 1,000 items. Hand it to Kroger shoppers.
let's
You
see.
never compromise. Find a Kroger near you and start shopping and saving today. Kroger. Fresh for everyone.
Okay.
It's summer. Time to enjoy long
Okay,
days,
let's
lazy
see.
nights, and great food. Because Uber Eats has deals all summer long.
Finishing my
When
recut.
hunger strikes,
My
don't
recut.
sweat it.
It's sad.
Delicious deals are
It's
just
so
a tap
sad.
away on Uber Eats. Enjoy all
Okay.
your favorite grocery items delivered
We're gonna
straight
get
to you.
zoop.
Get ice cream, soda, and snacks.
I
from
hope
your
you know
favorite
I am
stores like
freehanding
Wegmans and
this
CVS and make the most of every moment.
to my
Now
best
that sounds like a
ability.
good summer. Order now on Uber Eats. Terms apply. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Is this also Alice? No. Yes? No. Yes! Why couldn't I have, like, the mathtism? Why couldn't I be, like, a doctor or a lawyer autistic? No, instead it's the I hear, like, 3 seconds of a song and I'm instantly like, oh yeah, I know exactly what video game this is. On one hand, it's great. because I can be like, oh yeah, it's exactly this game at this point. And da, 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 da. Is that useful in day-to-day life? No, it's not useful for like finances or bills or taxes. But it's a great conversation piece to be like, hey, I know exactly what song this is from what da, 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 da. Alright. Hold on. I'm gonna get rid of these. These leaves don't look right. That boy ain't right. You got the music and voice actor autism. I need to create everything ADHD. Yeah, that actually, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Because I get, because I get the autism burnout so much, where it's like I can't even look at crafts or hobbies. Is this Mario? No, it's Zelda. This is Zelda, right? Hold up. I was wrong on both ends. It's Final Fantasy VII. Alright, maybe my autism ain't that good. There we go. Okay. OG. Alright. We're gonna finish these arms. And then we're going to do the face, and then we will call it there for today. It Chocobo Jams. It is indeed Chocobo Jams. It is. Hold on, I just had it. Cinco de Chocobo. I love chocobos. Why can't I have a chocobo? I want the fat chocobo. I want my chocobo to be fat. I want him to be healthy, but I also want him to be pudgy. He needs to be filled with love and care. Senor Chocobo. I did not have symmetry on. That is a-okay. I will turn the symmetry on in a moment. I need to go for a walk tomorrow. Hey, Postal! Wait for it. Stuck in a dream, turn into a nightmare. Feeling all alone. I can't let go. I can take this weight. My life is so filled with hate. There's too much for me. It's the only way for me to pick up the pieces and turn it back up again. For it, the well, stars behind you. Just as well, all the same inside you. I'm feeling I might explode. Got a thing that just let go. I can take this way. My life is so filled with hate. It's too much for me. It's the only way for me to pick up the pieces and build it back up again. Left in my life, I think that it's time that I break. Whoa, 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 whoa. I can take this way. My life is so filled with hate. It's too much for me. It's the only way for me to pick up the pieces and build it back up again. That is left in my mind. I think that it's time that I break. The music that plays in my head when I say the lottery she at work. The metal. You can't kill the metal. Metal will live on. Darn you, punk rock. They will smite to the ground. Tried to kill the metal, but they failed as they were stricken down to the ground. Grunge tried to kill the metal. They failed as they were thrown to the ground. Jesse! You're just in time for Tenacious D. Vicious blow. We are the vanquish flow of the metal. Do not know. New wave tried to destroy the metal, but the metal had its way. Grunge then tried to devour the metal. Jesse! This mouth is way too big. I don't like it. Darn you, punk rock! Destroy. Help to stuff with spaghetti. On one hand, I was like, that sounds amazing, until I realized that's all I've been having. And once you're full of spaghetti, it is like an awful feeling. Because then it's like, oh, heartburn is going to be bad. Been having cereal mostly for breakfast. Some spaghetti. I will make you some spaghetti right now. I made meatballs yesterday. I will gladly make you some. But burger meat is fine. What? where the heck are you shopping? Walmart, Walmart kind of raised their prices up though. Or everyday low price. Are you sure about that, Walmart? Berber. Berber. I can only get like boxes of like 8 patties. No! Where are you shopping? Where are you shopping for that price? I get like 2 pounds of, yeah. Like the ground meat, that makes sense. Hillman, where are you shopping? Steal the Berbers. Berber. Cheese on the cheese. I'm gonna flip out, man. Berber!
We can't tell you that they're tequila.
And for the burger patties that are frozen to church.
In fact, we can't even tell you why.
I pay $8 for 8 patties. No, I don't pay $8. How much do I pay? Hold up. I will fact check myself. Hold up. I just got burgers the other week. Hold up. Hold up. I will fact check myself. Hold up. Where are you guys? Berber. Spyro. How many burgers are you? I paid $10 for 8 patties. That's on Amazon. I have to pay like $12-15 for the Brokeback. They're really encouraging like the butcher shop thing then. My brain fart. I was like, what am I doing? Taking that layer off. Yeah, show me this. Yeah. Just my Walmart. Okay. Who's paying $30 for burgers? Who's paying $30 for burgers? Y'all crazy. Y'all stress me out. Nope. Here we go. $30 for burgers. You guys are outrageous. I won't say it. I'm gonna say it again. I'm trying to legit. All I get is ground. If influencers. If I'm getting meat nowadays, if I am getting any form of meat, it's chicken tenderloins or chicken breasts, and then I use them in the slow cooker or I freeze it. Because a majority of the time, I am eating chicken and rice, pasta and chicken. Burgers nowadays, like, I'll get the burger meat to have in my apartment, but I keep it frozen because I'm trying not to. It's gonna make no sense when I say this. I'm trying not to eat a lot of bread, so I don't get the burger buns. However, I've been kind of living off of peanut butter sandwiches. As I said, it's not gonna make sense when I say that, because it's like you're still eating bread. What do you mean? And as an Italian, I eat a lot of pasta. Nero. This has become like my new favorite song in the Devil May Cry soundtrack. Save the bread. What? Hey, yo! Don't get freaky with the bread. No molesta bread. Curse me big thumbs! Wait, hold up. I need my... Hold up. I need my peeper color. There we go.
Peepers. Jeepers, creepers, where you get them peepers? Jeepers, creepers, where you get the peepers?
There we go. From Toadstool Cafe. Let's see. We got Spooked. Let's see. Spooked. Ouchie. Jesse! Jesse! Also on the note of noting. No. Go on. What was your train of thought? Because I don't want you to lose the train of thought. What was the train of thought? Team C4 Nero, he's cute. He is adorable. I love him. His theme goes so hard. What's this here? That works. I like this one. Goes so hard. Jesse! 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 Well, first question is, have you hydrated? That's the first question. That is the biggest question. Yes. Also, just thanks, Bruce. And of course, human. Tea? Okay, I will take it. Jesse, I promise I'm getting there with the question. I swear. Would you? Because I know you've brought it up a handful of times in the past and that we never moved forward on it. Would you, madam, would you like to, in the future, because Ace came to me the other day and she was like, hey, do you want to do a collab stream together type of thing? And so that's what I'm working on, is I'm working on, because Ace doesn't have OBS or anything like that. And so it's, we're going to be streaming straight from her, PlayStation. And so as I'm working on this, and now that you're here, I could ask you, because I've been on work mode. Would you like to, in the future, because I know you brought this up to me, and we just haven't gone anywhere. I am, this weekend, fairly free. I don't know when Ace and I are streaming. She has to get back on me to that, because what these are for is I'm going to edit her stream into a compilation of sorts. Like best of clips, like how her and I used to, where we would stream together and I would edit like the best of moments. Would you like to stream like Dead by Daylight or something like that? Or some other games in the future? And collab? Because I know you've brought this up and we just haven't had a chance to do so. That would be lots of fun. Heck yeah. Because Ace came to me, it was like, do you want to, like, because now the classic RE games are all up on PlayStation, like almost all of them. They were like, do you want to do you want to play through them again with me? And I was like, heck yeah. Because they're like, I have not played OG2, or maybe they have and never got to finish it. I think they got lost. And they're like, can you help me? Because I need to see what's in Wesker's desk as a Wesker fangirl. I'm like, heck yeah, I will be there for you as you explore and or tidy his desk. It's gonna be so cute. Let me show too as I'm working on myself. Because as you can see, I'm doing it more like what we look like with Liberty. But here is Ace's. So far, I still have to finish hers. Tidy the desk here. But here's some of hers, like a neutral face. Here's the scared. I really like the scared face so much. I think hers came out really, really cute so far. Oh, that was her hair. Sorry. Wig snatched. We got this mouth. That goes for like that, but it can go boom. But that's what I've been working on, and like this, I'm gonna add like another expression for her because this face does look cute with that gesture. I just need to add her glasses, and she's almost done. And then we got mine is in the works. Let me get my hair back, because that's like neutral face or neutral eyes. Here's happy. Here's spooked. Hold up. With like the hands on the face. Spooks. These are so good. Thank you. I'm really liking how these are coming out. And whatchamacallit? Oh, we have ad in 3 minutes. And I wasn't sure if like you wanted me to make one, because I don't know if Ami would want to join. I'll have to ask Ace if Ace would like to be in a 4-way group chat with us. That way, if you want to do, yeah, I wanna draw yours too, because like I said, Ace doesn't use OBS or anything. She doesn't use any of the stuff we have, so these are more so like sprites that I would add into the video while editing, which I'm excited for because I actually really love editing so much. Put these hands down. I really like editing. My laptop does not like me editing videos. However, I'm spiteful and I'm stubborn. My PC also don't. To be fair, you have a beefier PC because I'm on a crappy laptop. But you're also using Sony Vegas, and Sony Vegas does take a lot of, like, manpower. I have not used Sony Vegas before, and I don't think my laptop would love me. I think my laptop will file a restraining order if I even go near it with Sony Vegas. If I get a quote-unquote legit copy of Sony Vegas. I've been using CapCut to edit, and just using CapCut alone, my laptop is like, stop! No more! Stop! Ah, mother trucker, I'm gonna have to have my tattoo again. I do this to myself. No, it's worth it. It's not going to be consistent because I'm freehanding my tattoo where I'm literally pulling up my sleeve and being like, okay, there it is. I'm so used to Sony Vegas. I want to use Sony Vegas. I was using, that's a lie. I was trying DaVinci Resolve because it's free, and apparently that's what a lot of movie studios use to edit is DaVinci. And it's a nice program. However, my laptop just hates it because it's too beefy for it. Excuse me, sir. There must be someone you've confused me for. If I could see someone who knew me or someone in uniform, I really don't belong here. I know you've heard the thing before. Excuse me, sir. There must be someone you've confused me for. If I could see someone who knew me or someone in uniform, I really don't belong here. I know you've heard the tune before. Run to the demons till you are exhausted. What they wanted. Demons are exhausted. Run to the demons. What they wanted. Definitely ask Ace if she's cool with joining me, because I mean, if we're being honest, out of the two who were teasing her about Wesker, I think yours was like the sweetest of the two. And the more genteel. If we're being honest. Don't belong here. I know you've heard the tune before. Gene.
Discover Ralph's Club New York, the new fragrance by Ralph Lauren, with blackcurrant, vanilla, and sandalwood. This scent embodies the sensuality.
I should not put O face. That makes it look weird.
Never sleeps,
oh,
this masculine
there we go.
fragrance lasts for 12 hours. Ralph's Club New York.
Ralph's Club New York.
Shop now.
Where the frick did he arms you?
I'm Sarah.
I
I'm a
don't-
cheese sculptor. Cheese
Good
is
for
my
you,
life.
Sarah.
I take blocks of cheese and I turn them into art. People, places, animals.
I literally said like about 15 minutes ago, okay, after I finish the spooked face, we're gonna end stream.
I spend a lot of time
Nope.
with cheese
Hold up.
by myself.
Cheese sculpture.
Want a career as a cheese
She
sculptor?
should marry
We're not
Spencer
the school
Shea.
for you. Want a degree to help prepare you for a career in healthcare, business, or education? Check us out at
Sounds
post.edu.
stinky.
Post University. Post makes it personal.
Waves roll onto sandy shores.
But
this isn't California.
Honestly, I want to
Live
marry.
music
Who
drifts from
wouldn't?
indoors. But this isn't
Spencer
Nashville.
Shea is a good noodle.
Startups buzz and the future takes
Starbucks
root.
buzz.
But this isn't Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley?
This is Northwest Indiana. Where it's
Okay.
as real as it gets.
How real, Samantha?
Everything you want coming at
Sorry.
thisisnorthwestindiana.com.
How north is that west in Indiana? You tell me. I don't want this song. I don't want it. It's a good song, but I said no earlier and you're back. I'm not feeling the song now. I'm not feeling it. What's the song? Okay. Taking notes on how you... So right now I am doing it in a not good way. You're gonna skip yourself right back. I will, most likely. That's why I stopped. Technically I did mine a little bit wrong. I should, for the hair, have had the front and the back separated. And I didn't. And I really should have. I was watching a video on iCarly the other week, and obviously I was mixed because it's like, oh, that's sweet, and then there's Dan Schneider being weird. Yeah, that's how I feel going like anywhere near iCarly nowadays. Chin for ooh, that's a 0. It's hard to watch. Yeah. Especially too when you like find out a lot of the stuff that happened behind the scenes for certain like episodes, and it just makes it feel worse. Especially for like Jeanette McCurdy or Drake Bell, because like watching it, it's like realizing how much they went through behind the scenes. It's so sad and it's so frustrating. And then some of them like also having like rough upbringings too. It just makes it even harder because it's like I just hate people sometimes. I do. I really hate people. Not really, but yes. You gonna give yourself a villain mustache. It's from the I forgot to. This is another thing. If you do it, don't be like me and put a mouth there. But it's just a simple fix of that. There we go. Color block, I will call it. There we go. like, technically I should not have had, for the head, I should not have any of the mouths there. I done goofed with that. I would be a good noodle to do proper layers. There's times where I want to do, like, art advice or art tips. Like, there's times where I think about doing that because I genuinely, I think it would be fun to do. I think about doing it all the time on, like, Tumblr or something like that, like, just writing a whole, like, hey, if you're looking into getting into the convention scene, this is what you can do. What the fudge a noodle? Hold up. What? Hold up. Where did these lines come from? Get the frick out of here. This is why we check our layers. Like, I want to do, like, tips for artists who, like, hey, I want to get into convention making, or conventions and tabling at cons. What are some do's and don'ts? Things like that. And just be, like, offer wisdom. And obviously, I am by no means a pro. I am no means a pro, but there's there's enough advice that I want to share, if that makes sense. That is a 0, not a... Oh, whoopsie. I have not watched the new Penny and Stocking episodes or show, but the clips I've seen, it looks cute. It looks good. Hold on. I need to do a symmetry tool. Symmetry tool, my best friend. Together, yet you're using me for your own game, and now I'll never feel the same. I used to be obsessed with Penny and Stocking, and looking back on it, at the age I watched it, it was like, I really should not have watched this series at the age I did. However, it influenced my art a lot, I feel. Let's do here. I keep forgetting sometimes because I have this paper protective texture on my tablet, and sometimes, because a lot of times in my art I use the noise filter and gradients to give it more of a texture too, and I have to keep reminding myself that it is not the
Want to know the easiest way to make
me
cash?
having a noise filter
Come
on.
to
It's
DoorDash and
the
make cash whenever
tablet
you want.
itself. What is this? Oh,
All
okay,
you
it's
have
the
to do is
chin.
download the DoorDash Dasher app. Signing up only
I
takes
have
a
the
few
layers
minutes. You can
labeled
dash
and I
with a
still
car,
am
a scooter,
confused.
even a bike. Once you're in, you can start earning whenever you want.
Whenever
No
you
boss,
want.
no
Wowie zowie.
The best part is, you can cash out instantly. No more waiting for payday.
Why does it sound
Visit
like Dante Bosco?
DoorDash.com/earn today to learn more.
Dante Bosco, are you doing ads for DoorDash? I gotta add my tattoo. Wait, no. Because the way my hands are... Ah, mother... I will have to add the tattoo.
At Kroger Pharmacy, we make
Hang
it easy to
on.
get flu, COVID, and
I
RSV
got
vaccines.
this.
They're available at no cost to you with most insurance plans. No
I
appointment
got it,
needed.
I got
And
it.
we're open weekdays, weeknights, and weekends. So come and visit us when it's most convenient for you. Kroger Health, a world of
Free
flavors in
hand the
store.
butterfly. Nope, that's not a
Vaccines
butterfly,
subject
that's
to
a moth.
availability. No cost to you with most insurance plans. Check with
We
your
got
plan
an
for eligibility.
eyeball
Restrictions
here
and
and
exclusions
put
may
it
apply.
like
See site
that.
for details.
Zooby dooby doo and dun dun. I wanna dun dun dun. Oh, I'll take Metallica. I will take Metallica. Bum bum dum bum. Bum ba da dun 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 dun. Let's not get too intricate. Dun 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 dun. Alright, that works. I need to add my bracelet. Hold up. I love this song. That looks fun. Working on new models. Hi, Ginga. How are you? Yes and no at the same time. I am working on what I am doing is a friend of mine reached out and was like, hey, I want to do a collab stream. And so I'm working on some sprites for her and I because she doesn't use OBS because her laptop can't run it. And so what I am doing is I told her that we could stream together and I would take the footage and then edit it because we used to stream together in the past on her channel. And I would then go and edit the footage and make compilations of like the funny moments from her streams or our streams. And I thought it'd be fun to go back and edit again. And she was like, yeah, I want to stream together because it was really, really fun. I'm like, heck yeah. And so I told her that I would go and make some... Why are you not... Did I put you? That I told her that I would oh, I see. That's my problem. I told her that I would make sprites for us, and then for when editing, I would go like all ham with the editing like I used to. And so she's super excited, I'm super excited. And I just asked Jesse too that maybe we could even do some Dead by Daylight streams together again. And so I will make Jesse some as well. And I'm super duper excited. Let's see. So we got no vagabond, call me what you wear. Let's see. Whoops. What happens if... Oh, I know, I have the hair there. But, I can still make it work. Because I do this. And then I do this. It's home.
Why is the symmetry on, you dingbat? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. Delete the ruler. So I take my time anywhere. To speak my mind. Still trying to get over head pains. Oh no! Yeah, hopefully you feel better soon. There's definitely a bug going around because I've been feeling that on and off all week. And it's rough. Okay, we're gonna do this. Oh, there we go. So we got this expression. And then we have like neutral. I feel like the eyes are a little too far up, maybe. We got that. We got spooked. And then we got hands on the face. Hey, you better be resting. Getting plenty of rest, some tea, all that good stuff. Yeah, it kind of looks good with that too. Anywhere I roam, where I lay my head is home. Yeah. Okay, so I think mine is done for the most part. Okay, we're gonna take this. I'm not doing my glasses. Looking cute. You're looking cute. Looking like a snack, madam. Go moi. There's control. Oh, that's shift. Control S. Control S. Command S. I hate Apple. I hate Apple. Okay, now for Ace. Let's see, we have hers here. Because she has lipstick. As much as I can, but being in bed won't help the current issues. Hopefully I can sleep. Hopefully. I hope you're able to sleep better soon. We got skied. Got the see, I need to do. Let's get the neutral face. And I'll put right here. Let me see. Alright, let me get her glasses. I can't see without my glasses. Alright. First we gotta sketch them out. Having a cold and no bueno. Hopefully get some peaceful sleeps. Yeah. Honestly, I find resting while sick is so hard because your body doesn't want to stay still and it sucks. Hope you two are better. Thank you. Doing pretty good. I have no complaints in my department as of yet. Looking like Bayonetta almost with these glasses. Because I think that's what the glasses she has is like. Having a little achy from doing yard work. I'm proud of you though. I'm proud of you for doing the yard work. You did great. Asonetta. I would show the picture that I'm using as reference, but I don't know if she wants me to. Type of thing. I don't want to like share it without permission that I used as reference. Just in case, like, even though she'll stream sometimes with a cam, I also too, like, just because I don't have straight up permission to do so. I don't want. That's the downside whenever I'm like working on fun projects like this. It's like, I want to share what I'm working on. I want to share like my references and all that stuff. And then it's like, oh wait, I can't share my references depending on what the project is. There we go. And that, oh, excuse me. What song is this? This is medium well done. Skippy. Nah. Do we want Five Nights at Freddy's? Do we want Five Nights at Freddy's? We have Five Nights at Freddy's.
Come back once more, all you see. I hope you die in a fire.
Right.
Castillo Payne doesn't like the 72 for erasing. Cause he's
There we go. I keep forgetting sometimes that doesn't work. Hold up. Because if that's not gonna work, we're gonna do it this way. There we go. Still gives the same effect. Honestly, I think the glasses helped with the lips. Alright, let's see. We got the neutral. Yeah. Yeah! Alright, I have to give her... She specifically requested Bean Wesker, which is the Zoom Zoom Wesker. She specifically requested that she has her Wesker because when she streams, she always has the Wesker with her. No. There we go. And so, I absolutely have to have the Wesker. Okay, that's my notes. Notes. Alright. My battery is at 40%. I got that beans. Beanie weenies. Beanie weenies. Beanie weenies. Alright. We're gonna do 2 beans. We will have 2 beans. We're gonna have one on the shoulder here. We'll have one here where he can have his little arms. And it could be like this. What the fudge?
Sink those fangs into a Snickers pumpkin. Better? Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
Satisfy
Because
your
the
sweet
bean...
tooth this Halloween with the chocolatey, caramely, peanutty goodness of Snickers pumpkins. It's never too early to trick or treat yourself. Tap the banner or visit Snickers.com to find Snickers pumpkins near you.
And because Wesker is Ace's husband.
You've got taco night on the table. Seasoned meat, warm
There we go.
tortillas,
Wait.
all the fixings. Now reach
Bean. Beanie weenies. Beanie weenies. Ah.
You want a bean? Do you want a Wesker bean too?
that elevates every
Okay.
bite. Bold flavor,
Let me make
taste.
note.
Because this isn't just dinner. Food deserves Pepsi.
Close. There you go. Just see this. There we go. Okay. Back here. Let's see. We'll have him like, wow. Oh, I know. We'll have like the holy Wesker. The holy Wesker bean. I'm gonna get his sketch done because I'm at 38%.
And that way I can also pull up. Because is the Bean his Stars outfit, or is it the RE5 outfit? Shoot. Because, shoot. Oh, hey. Very nice. Thank you. I just made a sale on Redbubble. Thank you. He has a Glock RE5? Okay. He's packing heat! Oh. Okay, if it's RE5, that actually simplifies things a bit. I think there's one for each. Oh my lord. This man with his receding hairline. There's a Cerberus Bean. Give. What bean? Beanie weenie. Beanie weenie. Human was correct, only RE5. Beanie weenie. If it's his RE5 outfit, I can be lazy. But I want a Stars Wesky. Okay. Oh. There we go. I'm making notes! Oh, I like this song. Okay, let me see what he looks like. I'm gonna move him over. I know he's a bean, but I'm like, with golly, this bean. I want to make it pungent. Is he beanie weenie yet? Beanie weenie? Need one. Oh, that's good. Because in 5 he's a bit tannish. Not like that. Yeah, that works. Just my clock in the phone. He's got tan while waiting for the perfect moment to ruin Chris's day. Because in 5, he's got a tan. A bit. But in 1, and Code Veronica, he's fairly pasty. Man has never seen the sun. He's too busy in his lab. Of course, he had to look up when he finally killed Chris. Ah, Chris, I've seen you,
It's summer.
seen something. I don't know what I was going with.
And great food. Because Uber Eats has deals all summer long. So, when hunger strikes, don't sweat it. Delicious deals are just a tap away on Uber Eats. Enjoy all your favorite grocery items delivered straight to you. Get ice cream, soda, and snacks from your favorite stores like Wegmans and CVS, and make the most of every moment. Now that sounds like a good summer. Order now.
No, there's Star Flavor Resident Evil 5 again, or Resident Evil General. That would be very fun.
Here, sink those fangs into a Snickers pumpkin.
Hear me roar. Hey, right. Been revising Mary. Ooh.
Satisfy your sweet tooth this Halloween
Ooh la
with a
la.
chocolatey, caramely, peanutty goodness
Dude,
of
I'm not
Snickers pumpkins.
putting the blushy
Never
blush
too
on
early
both
to
sides of
trick
your face,
or
Whisker.
treat yourself. Tap the banner or visit
The nerve of
Snickers.com
me.
to find Snickers pumpkins near
There you
you.
Doesn't he have like a scar on his face too? In like 5?
Summer's here.
I don't know
and
what
you
that
can
thing
now
is.
get almost anything you need for your sunny days delivered with Uber Eats. What do I mean by almost? Well, you can't get a well-groomed lawn
Okay.
delivered, but you can
I
get
don't
a
hate
chicken
it.
Parmesan delivered. A cabana? That's a no. But a butter?
Don't hate
That's
it.
a yes. A nice
It
dinner
is like
outside?
smile lines,
Nope.
yeah.
But a box fan? Happily, yes.
I am
A
gonna
day of
do it just
sunshine?
like a little
No.
bit
A
of
box
that.
of fine wines? Yes.
Alright.
Uber Eats can definitely get you that. Get almost anything delivered with
Nope.
Uber Eats.
Yes.
Order now. Alcohol in select markets. Product availability
That way,
may vary by regency.
he
Ask
has
for
like.
details.
I know beans aren't that big, but in order to make sure he's seen. Shoulder bean. Okay. Okay. I think this is where I am going to leave it. I hate to leave it at Bayonetta. But my tablet is at 35%, and sometimes 30 is like... But thank you all for coming and hanging out. I hope you all have fun. I'm gonna try and stream Binonetta. I'm gonna try to stream again this weekend. Like I said, no promises. Gonna try. I'm gonna check with Ace too. Once I'm off stream, I'm gonna send her the works in progress of what we have so far and see how she's liking them. I'm gonna tweak the beans, maybe. I want to have the Holy Wesker bean because that sounds really, really fun to do. But thank you all for coming and hanging out. If you totally want to create a group chat, I definitely will. I'm gonna check with her and see, and then I'll make a group chat for us. So that'll be very, very fun. Very fun. Very hip and square. I might make a server just so it's organized. Maybe not. That sounds like a lot of work. But yeah, I'll make a group chat once I get the okay. But yeah, thank you for coming and hanging out. Make sure you stay hydrated and nutritionated. Have a good day or good night, and bye-bye! Metal Gear. Whoa. Turn around, you jerk. Thank you. Get out of here.